Hey everyone, Andy here from Suite Additions. So many homeowners and investors have been adding second suites to their properties in recent years. This is because it's a great way to boost the value of your property and is proven to increase the amount of cash flow the home generates. Here at Suite Additions, our team has consulted and designed over 250 legal second suite projects since 2015, and along the way we've gained a lot of experience that can help guide you in your next project. In this video, we're going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to go about purchasing a home, applying the 8 steps to obtain a legal second suite, and repeat the process over and over again so that you can continue building greater wealth. The steps we've identified in this video is from our Second Suites Profit Formula Masterclass. Many homeowners and investors have enrolled in this training and have gone on to start investing in real estate using the second suite strategy. We strongly recommend that you do so as well to start building wealth and creating better homes. So let's cover the 8 steps required for a successful second suite conversion. Before we get started, let's quickly discuss what second suites are. Second suites are self-contained living accommodations with its own living room, sleeping areas, kitchen, and bathrooms located in an existing dwelling unit. They can exist in any part of the house, but the vast majority of them in Ontario and the rest of Canada are located in the basement level. They can be used for family members, but are often rented to tenants at very high rates. Due to rising property values, many middle-income earners are priced out of the housing market, but still wish to live in a desirable residential neighborhood with access to good schools, parks, and other community services. This means that good quality, well-constructed second suites are in high demand and commanding very high rent. Many homeowners use the income from a second suite to offset the cost of home ownership, while investors use it as a great cash-generating asset. The great thing is that once you complete a second suite project, you can potentially extract value out of that house and reallocate those profits onto the next project. Many investors successfully use the BRRRR strategy with second suites, which is to buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat the process. Now, why is it important that second suites are legal? By doing them legally, you ensure that it's built properly because it is inspected every step of the way. You remain in good standing with the lender, insurer, your neighborhood, and most importantly, the city. If your unit is illegal, a neighbor or tenant complaint can result in your second suite being shut down. So it certainly makes sense to have them fully legal with permits from the city. Okay, so we have to provide a disclaimer. The information is not intended to be enough for you to make any purchase decisions. It provides you with a general overview of the steps involved, and every city's rules and regulations are different. Remember to seek the advice of a professional before performing any real estate transactions. Now let's get started and cover the 8 important steps necessary for a profitable second suite project. Okay, so step number 1, the financial considerations. So the first thing is making sure that you have the financing in order to purchase the home. If you already own a property, that's great. You can move on to step number 5 to get the process going. However, if you don't own a property, you can either buy a home for yourself to live in and add in the extra unit, or you can buy an investment property to add one in. If you're starting out, I would recommend buying your own home first and adding in the extra unit. This is because your down payment is typically less than what would be required if it was strictly an investment. This allows you to use the strategy quicker. Make sure you allocate enough money for design and permit costs. This can be typically anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000. Allow for renovation costs. A well-built legal second suite from scratch can cost anywhere between $80,000 to $120,000. And don't forget to allocate holding costs during the renovation period. This is the time when you have to pay your mortgage, utilities, and taxes before you obtain any revenue from rent. There are many ways investors access funding required for the down payment and renovation expenses. Some people will have cash saved up, some will refinance their existing property, but most people will use a loan from a home equity line of credit. There are other options such as funds from a private lender or a joint venture with an investor. A portion of the investment can also be funded by a purchase plus improvement program from a bank. We recommend working with a qualified mortgage broker to get the funding that you need. But if you're starting out, your best bet is to save as much money as you can and purchase a home in an affordable market and then add in a legal second suite on your own property first. Step number 2, finding the ideal property. So there are a number of important steps to finding the right property for a second suite conversion project. First thing to consider is what type of home do you want to purchase? The type of home can affect how easy it is to perform a conversion. We categorize them into 5 types of homes. We have single-story bungalows, we have two-story homes, semi-detached homes, townhouses, and finally century homes. In our experience, we find single-story bungalows built in the mid-20th century or so to be the most ideal for second suites. This is because you generally have a large footprint, adequate separation from your neighbors, which is super important, and good options for parking. These homes are also typically very well built. Having said this, perhaps more important is to purchase the home that is suitable for you, as there are many other factors such as location and price. If you've identified the home that you wish to purchase, you have to assess a number of factors to ensure that you're going to be able to do an actual 2-unit conversion. There are 2 categories that you need to consider for legality. The first is compliance with local city bylaws, which covers things like zoning locations, parking requirements, lot sizes, etc. The second is meeting the building code requirements. This includes aspects such as ceiling heights, windows, and separate entrances. There are a number of items to consider, but we've identified 8 important things to look for in our handy 8-point checklist that you can download for free at www.suiteadditions.com. Other things to look for include the health of the home systems, such as heating and cooling equipment, electrical, and plumbing for a second suite. Also ensure that functionally the home can work for 2 separate families. Okay, so step number 3 is the offer to purchase. Once you're ready to purchase the house, there are some key steps when making an offer, and then some very important preparation details after your offer has been accepted. Before making the offer, make sure to get a home inspection to identify all the big ticket items. There may be issues with the roofing, structure, mechanical systems, or even a water leakage issue. These may not necessarily be relevant to your second suite, but can potentially affect the overall bottom line of your project. There are a number of items that you should ask the seller to provide to you prior to closing on the property. These include a land survey, if one's available, an authorization letter to submit a permit application, and multiple visits to the site. Finally, we feel that a longer closing would be ideal to allow us to do a number of things to get the conversion ready, such as designing the unit and building a good renovation team. Step number 4 is the preparation work before closing on the property. There are a lot of things that you can do before you even own the property to set yourself up for success. This includes arranging your architect and contractor on site, discussing rental strategies with your realtor or property manager, and getting started with the design process. During this time, it's also important to understand the full scope of what the city requires from you. There are a number of things that you may need to provide them, so ensure that you have these documents ready. So these may include minor variances to be completed to comply with city bylaws, approvals for increasing driveway for parking, and possibly legal proof of ownership of the property. So step number 5 is permit drawings and the application. The next step is to work on the design of the second suite, prepare all necessary documentation, and submit the application to the city's building department. Work closely with your architect or designer to ensure that you have adequate space for all rooms, meet all safety requirements, and have great functional design for your 2 separate families. This includes sufficient parking and outdoor amenity space. When it comes to what's required for the building permit application, typically city building departments would want to see a site plan, existing and proposed floor plans of the entire building, elevations and cross sections of the property, as well as any specific details, and lastly, construction specifications. You always need to submit 2 copies to the city along with the application form and any associated second suite registration forms. Once you submit the application, the process will typically be at least 2 to 3 weeks and can be much longer if revisions or corrections are required to be made on your design. Step number 6 is renovations. Once you receive your approved second suite permit from the city, it's time to get started with the renovation work. So this is where all the fun begins. Your first step is to ensure that you have the right team in place. If you're hiring a general contractor to do the work, there are some very important prerequisites. Ideally, they would have at least completed 1 legal second suite in the past. This is because they will have the experience working with the city and will know specific items that need to be completed. This also helps to provide more accurate pricing for your project. Of course, ensure that whoever you're hiring has the proper licensing and insurance to do the work. In terms of licensing, they would need one for their particular trade. For example, if they're an electrician, heating technician, or plumber, there are specific trade licenses. When it comes to insurance, they would need to have workers' compensation for personal protection, as well as comprehensive general liability for protection from property damage. Before starting the renovation, ensure that you have your permit posted in a visible location and try to do an initial inspection with all parties on site, including the homeowner, architect or designer, contractor, and city inspector. We find that this initial step is incredibly important to get everyone on the same page and significantly increases the overall success of the renovation project. Now, when it comes to the renovation work, here's the general process. Prepare any structural modifications for wall openings as well as support for window and door openings. Pre-order any custom windows and doors as these will take time to manufacture and deliver. Perform all the framing of the second suite. Install electrical and plumbing systems, including smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Implement all heating and cooling systems. Install all windows and doors. Place proper insulation and fire separation equipment. Install drywall and taping. And finally, complete all kitchen cabinets, hardware, bathroom fixtures, and all the finished systems, including flooring, trim, and paint. That pretty much takes care of everything inside. In terms of the exterior of the home, which can be completed at the same time or after, ensure that all parking requirements are met for the main property and second suite, and it's always a good idea to allocate dedicated outdoor amenity space for each unit. After this, we're ready for the final city inspection. So step number 7, post-renovation procedures. Now comes the post-renovation steps. All the hard work has been completed, but it's not time to celebrate yet. There are a few post-renovation procedures that need to be taken care of. First, ensure that you obtain any documentation from the city to prove your second suite is now fully legal. This can come in handy in the future if you're selling the property or require financing from a lender. This documentation can be part of a second suite registry if the city has one, or it can simply be a report stating that your house now has a legal second suite. Sometimes it's just a simple email from the inspector or city staff. Keep this document in a safe place for future reference. Of course, make sure you have soft copies of all the original permit documentations and drawings as well. Make sure you have services and utilities set up for each property for both units. If you have separated any of the utilities, ensure that occupants set up accounts directly with the utility company. Provide adequate garbage, recycling, and compost containers from the city's waste collection services. If your neighborhood uses community mailboxes, contact Canada Post to have separate additional mailboxes. If mail is delivered directly to the house, ensure that you have 2 mailboxes. Okay, so final step is number 8, occupancy and long-term strategy. The final step is filling your brand new 2-unit property. If it's your own home, you may be living in one unit and renting out the other one to a tenant, friend, or family member. You may be able to extract equity out of the property in order to fund your next project, either by refinancing the property or taking funds out as a secured line of credit. Again, talk to your mortgage broker about these options. The key is to obtain a high appraised value after completion to maximize the amount of equity that you can extract. In order to do this, plan for a high quality renovation with nice modern finishes, updated systems, and excellent curb appeal. You can certainly decide to sell the house for a profit, and in many cases, small investors are very interested in a turnkey property that already contains a legal second suite. So you can sell to them, and this is what we recommend if you don't want to hold on to the property for the long term. You can also sell the property to a homeowner who needs the extra income from the second suite to help with mortgage and other expenses. The options with a legal second suite are plentiful. So these are the steps in a nutshell. Obviously, we've simplified this process in this short video, but it gives you an overview of what's involved in a legal second suite conversion project. Many people have implemented this strategy successfully and have gone on to other intensification strategies, including 3-unit conversions, detached accessory units, laneway suites, and small-scale infill development. The opportunities for profit and creating better housing for our communities are endless, but it all starts with legal second suites. Now, if you want to learn more, check out our website at www.suiteadditions.com and download our free guides. Thanks for watching, and we wish you all the success.